What is happening? What is going on with everybody out there? Master debaters, happy Sunday to everybody. Happy pre 4th of July. Hope everybody's out there is doing well. The cool thing is the 4th of July is not until tomorrow. So people, not only do they have the day off, but on Sunday, when I talk to you, everybody still has their fingers. So that is great. That is great. That is such an awesome thing. I enjoy knowing that we all have our digits still here on this July 3rd. So we got a great show lined up for you. We're going to keep it light. We're not going to get too deep. Last week, Deon and I got into Roe versus Wade with you guys, and it was a great conversation. Big brother here, Warren B. Hall, was not with us to have that conversation because he was off, being a superstar and whatnot, hanging with celebrities, rubbing elbows with people, that don't know him, so they let him rub elbows. And so, and celebrate and celebrating his birthday and all that good shit, man. So we want to have take a little time here on the show dedicated to Warren to celebrate him. And anybody out there watching, if you want to throw a happy birthday to Warren right now, even though you're 2 weeks late with your present, you rat bastard, feel free to go ahead and do that now. We would not judge you while the show is in place, but afterwards, know that we would talk all kind of shit about you. Warren, with no
Yes, sir.
further ado, with no further ado, man, um, would you jump in here and accept all the love and all of the happy birthdays that you're getting 2 weeks late?
Thank you. Thank you for the on time people, the late people, the people who'll see this and then hit it up later. I appreciate all of it. A special thank you to you guys and the wife for throwing me this amazing party that most of it she kept behind my back without me knowing. Both of you tried to make me cry. Sydney in person, this guy virtually tried to put a little message on there, and I'm trying to act like I'm not crying. You're crying at my own party. Uh, it was great. It was one of those moments where you know, as a man, we always act like we're too strong to be loved, but at 50, greatly appreciated it. I needed it, and thank you for your part in that.
Dion, you want something you want to say? I don't want to step all over here.
No, man, I'm grateful to know you as well as I do. I'm happy that you made it to 50 after some of the stories you've relayed to me. But yeah, man, I'm super proud to know you. Super proud to call you my brother and friend, mentor, and sad I wasn't able to be at the party. But from the stories I've heard, it was great. I talked to Tony Mack, and he and I both agreed that you didn't say anything about our video messages. So we will address that in person.
Yeah. That was the thing I worried about. If I said one person's, everyone else would be like, I sent a message too. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go
Absolutely.
around and privately let people know, hey, I saw your message. I appreciated your message. But yeah, there's literally so many. There was so many that if I started naming them, of course I'm gonna miss somebody, and I don't want to do that at all. But I was surprised at how many people took the time that couldn't make it. First of all, people who flew to Vegas, we'll pretend that some of it was because of me. Let's be honest. You want to go to Vegas. Uh, but you can't get 10 people in your own town to show up at a show. So to get people to fly from different multiple states and show up, that was pretty impressive. So thank you. Thank you.
What the weird thing and I can only speak as a comic, but I would assume as entertainers, period. When you want to go back, you want to thank people, especially on social media, because that's what a lot of us do now. God
Right.
forbid you forget one name of one person that was at that show. You will never hear the end of it. I hit 8 out of 9 names, and that ninth person will be pissed as if they paid the most for their ticket, and they just
Yep.
it's the weirdest thing. I excuse me. I worked with this comic a couple of weeks ago here in Phoenix. He was in from Canada, and he did not want to come out and do the meet and greets because of COVID, and he didn't want to get sick again because the last time he got COVID, he had to shut down a bunch of dates, and he didn't want to have to go through that again. So he didn't do the meet and greet. And this woman was out there throwing a fit about him not doing it. Well, I'm Canadian too, and I came in, and he should come out here. And I just went on him. The things that people just think you owe them, whether it be a meet and greet or an acknowledgement on social media or whatever, it baffles me that people feel like they have this almost like an ownership over you. I think.
It does feel like that. But there's also some people you just want to say thanks. I haven't spoken to you as often as I wanted to. Uh, Thank you so much. Like TA had a great little message on there. One of the things he said was, "While you're in Vegas, if you happen to see some of my money, tell it to come home. I miss it." You know, that made me smile and chuckle. And actually, everybody in the place watching it, people took time to watch the video with me, which
Yeah,
was surprising. They had it up on the bar TV. You were there. They had it
yeah.
on the bar TV, and the sound was coming from the TV instead of the speakers. And instead of people just talking, they actually leaned in and try to hear it even better. People impress me. People impress me because you know how nobody cares about anybody but themselves. And the whole spot, the whole lounge, um, chimed in. I don't know if you noticed, there are people on the side who were walking by who stopped, were leaning on the railing, watching some people say nice stuff about me. They were watching the videos. It was kind of amazing.
Well, I will say this. Well, I want to say two things. For people who are just jumping on, we are talking about Warren B. Hall's birthday celebration in Las Vegas, where he got a chance to perform for the first time at Brad Garrett's for a week, which we'll get into some of that as well, and some other different things. So that's what you're jumping in on. That's what we're discussing right now. The second thing I'll say is this. There were a lot of people. I was like, how long is this video? There were a lot of people who sent their messages to say happy birthday. I'm like, can we cut this cake, man? Let's get here. These cookies over
Right?
here for just sitting. So I was really impressed with the amount of people that showed you that kind of love, Warren. It was good. Good thing. Between the three of us, the two of you have known each other the longest. Um, but you guys never make me feel bad for that. So I always appreciate the brotherhood that the three of us share and the things that we know about one another. And one of the things I know about Warren and I share a few similarities. One of them is we would put these paws on you if necessary. Uh, uh, and not feel bad about it because we try to talk you out of the situation you find yourself in now. But Warren, at 50, and you still being you, be honest with us here. With it's just us and a few master debaters. Um, is there any second thought in your mind now where you think, I don't know, man, I'm 50 years old. I might not be as quick as or stronger. I get out here, I might get twisted and tied up. I got to think of better ways to settle these disputes.
The line is just moved. Why I would put my paws on you changed. It has to do with my wife and family. Well, that's still right up there. You know, you didn't
Right.
pay Deon all the money. The line's still up there. But other things, people like I can take things at me now, and it's not so bad. Used to be, what'd you say to me? Now it's like, yeah, I agree with that, and then I just keep moving. So I can't
I
replace these parts, man. This warranty is up.
look. Someone just asked me to go play basketball the other day, and I said, no. What I got there, twist an ankle, do something with one of these knees. I don't have time for that. Be out here limping around around the stage.
I think one of the
The,
most sadly honest, embarrassing parts of Vegas, Brooke was like, "Yeah, let's go to this one nightclub," and it was like $90. It was like $50 for dudes and 30 for chicks, and then they wanted to tax you for just showing up. And I was like, I don't think so. And then I surprised her the next night. I'm like, okay, we'll go in here, and we dress up, went to this club, and I was good for 45 to 46 minutes. Right, and then they started changing up the music, and you know how it is at the club. They don't play a whole song anymore. We came up on the whole song. They give you 12 seconds of the song and then mix it in with someone you've never heard of. So it's like, if you would just play 1 minute of each song, I'd be happy with that. So now I'm starting to get frustrated because they're not playing whole songs. So then they start playing techno music, which is, Deon will tell you, I can't do techno. Techno is code for stab the nearest person to you, right? So I'm
just
trying
get
to, for
angry.
her, put on a brave face. And then I'm at a point where and she's so funny because she's drinking and then she gets to a point where she's like, hey, let's jump off a roof. And I'm like, you're getting crazy now. Now you're getting crazy. Let's not jump off a roof. No, she's like, let's go more. So she's trying to kind of sneak me over to the bar, and I'm like, babe, I'm done. She goes, what are you talking about? And I had to say the words out loud. I said, babe, I'm 50. You made me say it. I'm 50. I can't hang. I said it out loud. Are you happy? She's 8 years younger than me, so she still got
Fa-
her glow sticks on, and it is what it is.
You see that on the screen, War?
Yeah, sounds 50. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
That was courtesy of Matthew Wood.
Oh, Maddie Wood, Maddie Wood, Maddie Wood.
Thank you,
Um,
Matt.
Maddie is a. I don't think Dion met him when last time he was here. Maybe you guys might have met him at my wedding, but Matthew is a brother to me here, good friend of mine. He came out and supported on Friday night, so I appreciate that, Maddie.
Excellent.
Uh, Roxy.
let me just say
Go
this,
ahead. Go ahead,
Warren.
Dion.
Let me just say this. I'm 37 and I'm not jumping off no rooftops. So 50 ain't got nothing to do.
Right?
I ain't doing all that shit.
I love the fact that you could just see. I can just picture Warren leaving the club and going to his car and popping the tape in so he can hear all of his old favorite tunes, all the songs that he want to hear. We don't need no
Hey,
club.
hey, I'd have had my headphones in at the clubs.
See?
Talking about,
See?
just play the song
That's what
I
I
want
should
to
have
hear.
done. Then I could have danced all night. Yep.
I've done it before.
uh, all right, let's get to Roxy. Roxy's with us. Roxy, what is happening? Roxy says we get older and the threshold for the BS we put up with goes up. We're more patient and don't want to end up online, but don't get it twisted now. I got bail money. So, yes, absolutely. I like it,
Exactly.
Roxy. And Roxy, that's a great point. You do get the point where our patience level is up a little bit. We can be a little more patient, but you hit that right level of BS, we would not tolerate it. And the reason we won't tolerate it is because we know at this age I can get out and come back and whoop your ass again. It used to be the fear, who gonna get me out? Am I have to call my mother? No, I can bail myself out. And if it's high enough, if I got to put the house up, son, what have I got to do? And
Have
so
you
that
ever
changes
seen the
things for you.
movie Fried Green Tomatoes? There's a part, this
Yes,
woman, she's middle aged,
unfortunately.
trying to get that parking spot, and these young girls zoom in and last second take the parking spot. And she was like, I've been waiting on this spot. She goes, we're younger and we're faster. Ha ha ha. She puts her car in reverse, hits their car, backs up, hits their car like 4 or 5 more times. And the girl's like, why'd you do that? She goes, because I'm older and I have more insurance.
Yes,
That's
yes,
how I
yes.
feel now.
I tried to block out all scenes from Fried Green Tomatoes, but you had to bring it back to me. And as an old man, you went to one of the old people movies too. So that was. I'm glad you live in 50. That's 50 should be lived.
You know, some girl tricked me into seeing that movie, and then secretly I loved it. I said it. I loved it.
My mother used to force us to sit down and watch that movie with her over and over and over again.
I just saw
I
the
hate,
one.
I hate that movie. Hate that movie. Dion.
Never seen it.
So
Never
Put it on
seen
let's
your
it.
get
bucket list, young man.
the bucket list. So Warren, let's get into your birthday celebration, your week, working at Brad Garrett's, getting a chance to work with Brad Garrett. For people who don't know, because there are people who don't know, Brad Garrett is the older brother to if you ever seen the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond, he's the older brother on Everyone Loves Raymond. Tall gentleman. So
Real call
he,
cops. Yep.
yeah, he's has a great club in Vegas, which amongst comics is a comedian's one of the favorite clubs of comedians because of the way the room is set up, the way Brad treats and shows love, the way he comes in, he'll work, but he doesn't change your pockets because he's there working. I mean, a lot of great things you'll hear about Brad Garrett and this club. I'm looking forward to hopefully one day getting there and working there myself because of these things. Um, what was your biggest takeaway? And we can talk more about it, but what's your biggest takeaway that you kind of took from working that club, Warren?
He was incredibly humble. Most people, when they have buildings with their names on it or a marquee with their name on it, they tend to act like move out of the way because it's me and I'm doing this. He made sure to say, "Hey, this is your green room too. If you have anybody who wants to come back here, or we've got a full stock bar. I know your wife's here. If you want to grab her a little drink or have her come back, hang out so she feels comfortable. There's a private bathroom here if you want her to have that. Whatever is ours is yours." And he said it, and he meant it. And each night when I'd come in, he's like, "Don't forget if you want to do anything." I had a buddy with me, James, and I was like, "James would love to meet you." He's like, "Oh, well, we'll have him come on in." James comes in, meets him, and then the next day I come in and go, "Hey, my buddy, you really made his day." And he remembered. He goes, "James, is he here today? Tell him come back again." So he was genuine. He was really genuine. You don't, or I haven't seen that a lot in this business. Certain people, they get to a level and they just act like everything's owed to them. Don't talk to me unless you talk to this guy first. And he wasn't that. He was real down earth.
Did
Appreciate that.
you did you feel like excuse me, sorry about that. Did you get a chance to add? Because I always there's only a few gracious comics in this business. And I hate to burst in with Bubble, who's a fan of comedy. While there are a lot of funny people, there's only a few gracious ones. And those that are, if I get a chance to work with them a long period of time, a few days in a row, a weekend, or whatever, You know, I always try to figure out what it is that makes that person tick. Why are you this way? Was there an experience in your background when you were coming up that made you think I'm not going to be like this guy or that girl? What was it for you? Did you get a chance to have that conversation with it at all? And then I want to go to Deon with the same question. Uh, Deon, have you ever had a chance to kind of dig in like that with someone that you've had a chance to work with? Warren?
I didn't ask the question. I was just, I think I was surprised. You're a little Star Trek or starstruck. You tell yourself you're gonna be cool. But then in your mind, you start giggling at all the funny lines he had on the show. Raymond, right? You're like, remember that one episode? Don't say it. Don't mention that. Don't mention that. So that's pretty much what I did most of the time. The first meeting was like, don't say that. Don't be cool. Be cool. I think you're saying be cool out loud. You're saying it out loud. That's not cool. That's not cool. You're getting loud. So it was surreal, but like I said, he makes you feel like you're a guest and they wanted you to be there and they're glad. He talks to you like you filled in. Like I'm so glad that you could make it. It's like you told me months ago I was coming. But he cared about people. There was one night where the show was almost about to be late and the manager comes in and goes, "Hey, there's a couple people and you told them to give them a second. Do you want me to make them wait?" And he goes, "No, I told them I'd give them a second. So we'll pause the show and you have them come back." And he gave him the same gracious spiel of good to see you and this, that, and other. It didn't feel fake, you know. And again, you've seen it firsthand. Yeah, call me whenever you're in town, and they don't mean call me when you're in town,
Jesus,
you know.
absolutely.
And this guy, he was all about that, and he held that up, and you got to respect that.
Deon?
um, so I've met a few famous people, but never spent more than just a day with like the uber famous people that everybody would know. But the one who really stuck out to me was Wanda Sykes. We got VIP access, and she was just like the most gracious host. Like she had this big ass platter of food, and she was like, "You hungry?" And I was like, "I don't want to. That's in your writer. You asked for that. I don't want to eat your." She was like, "Boy, if you don't go over there and grab some of this, I ain't gonna eat all this shit. I just want to make sure they, you know, do what I asked them to do." So she's feeding us, and then she has all these this merch that she's like, "Y'all want some of this?" And it's like this stuff's not cheap. Like it's a hat, it's a bottle opener that every time you touch it to metal, it does one of her jokes.
Oh wow.
So she was just like she was just really 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 gracious. Like she took pictures. I don't know if it was because of my proximity towards Miss Pat and they have a relationship or not, but she was just really really nice to everybody that was in the group that I was with, me and uh, Michelle, and which if you contrast that to some of the famous people I've met, like Ari Spears, who was just a complete dickhead. Like it was one of those things where I was grateful to meet somebody on that level who was really down to earth and sweet. She was genuinely a sweet lady.
But you know what though, Deon, to your point, you weren't sure if she was being nice because because you work with you're close to Pat and you're in that proximity and blah blah blah. I would say no because we've been around people and they're nice, famous people, and they're nice to those people, but they treat everyone outside that circle like dog shit. So, I mean, I think if she treats the wait staff the same way she treats a friend, to me, that's a sign of a decent person at minimum. But again, we've seen those and worked with those people that if you're in their little clique when they come in, they're cool. If you're not in their little clique, they treat you like dog shit, whether you be the host on the show or whether you be the chick who's bringing them drinks all weekend. So I think she probably treats you that way, and I'm assuming I would hope so because I'm a big fan of hers. But I'm assuming that she treats you that way because she's just a real down to earth person. My favorite thing, well, I got a few different things I love about Wanda, but she did Kevin Hart's podcast earlier this year, and Kevin is very, very verbose as an interviewer, and he's just going on and on and on before he gets to the question, and she just says, "Hurry up, man, just get to the point." And so it just makes me laugh because no one else has come on before or since and told Kevin, "Hurry up, man, just get to the point." But they have that kind of relationship too, that
Right.
they go way back, and so she gives him shit. Go ahead, Warren. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say what was the show with the Olsen twins? Full House,
Yeah, Full House.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I got to do a college gig with Uncle Joey from the show. He's a comic named Dave Coulier,
Oh,
and
Dave.
I hear him next door, and of course I've seen the show, so I'm waiting for my chance to go into the hallway and act like, oh, you're here too. So I come out and say, hey, he goes, hey, what's going on? We start having a genuine conversation. He comes in, we're talking, we're hanging out. Now it's 5 minutes of showtime. He goes, hey, I got to go to my room real quick and grab my jacket. So we go next door into his room. His room is the same as mine with everything. He's got sweaters, coats. They gave me a T-shirt. He's got food. I'm like, why were we in my room this whole time when you had all this food? Is that a picture of Liberace? He had everything, but he was nice enough that he was like, no, we were having a good conversation. But yeah, eat some of the food and whatnot. But what got me was after the show. It's a college gig, so there are college girls lining up to try to hang out with him. Like, well, we're gonna go here. Why don't you come with us? He goes, no, I'm gonna hang out with Warren. I was like, what? What do you want to hang out with me for? And he's like, no, those girls are only going to get me in trouble. We go to some local hole in the wall bar. We're sitting there, we're talking. People are circling the table. Like literally, this one girl walked around like wide, and he's just having a conversation. He doesn't even notice it. I'm like, do you see what's happening? He's like, oh yeah, that happens sometimes. He's talking. This girl finally comes over and says, excuse me. He says, very nice. Oh, hi, how are you? She says, I just want to say, and then she giggled for like 5 minutes straight. And I mean, she went so long that he and I went back to having our conversation with her standing at the table giggling. And then she comes out of it and goes, I just want to say I love you. And then she ran away. And it was like, that happens all the time. He's like, sometimes. But he was so nice and so gracious. And there was a guy playing a guitar by himself singing. And he looks at me and says, do you think he'll mind if I go up and play with him? And he pulls out a harmonica from his pocket. And I go, I don't know. So then he just walks up and taps the guy on the shoulder and shows his harmonica, like, can I jump in? The guy just nods, all right, sure. And the guy obviously didn't realize who it was. And he's playing along and he's playing well with him. Then he looks and the guy goes, and he's just looking around and he wasn't phased by any of that, which I thought was amazing that this happens to you so often that it doesn't even, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. They'll be all right.
Two things I'll say. One, Dave Coulier is Canadian, so they're some of the just most chill people.
Right.
As second thing I'll say, if you did not believe Warren was 50 after that Dave Coulier story, you believe it now, don't you, motherfucker? Don't you? Don't you know?
What was old about that?
No, I'm just teasing. Hey, folks, someone's Facebook user out there asked, "Are you freezing up or is it me?" I think Deon may have a little
That's
bit
Mary
of a
Ballard.
oh, Mary, hey. Dion has a little bit of a visual delay, but I'm not seeing anything on my end for myself or for Warren. So I'm assuming you're talking about Dion, but I'm not seeing anything outside of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang up and come back and see if that fixes it.
Okay, all right. We'll keep this thing going. No, that's a no. All jokes aside, that's a really cool story, and considering what we see famous people do on the other end of that spectrum and make complete asses out of themselves, I'm glad.
Yeah.
And man, I can't wait to the day when we can share some of those stories.
Right. Right.
Trying to
We had a
bring
good time
Dion
though.
back.
So you got to meet a couple people while we were out there. You also met you met the same stars I met. We got to hang out with
Just
Malone
just
that
one.
first night.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Brad Garrett.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
oh,
didn't
you
meet
left
Brad.
before. Did you?
I came back
Ah,
before.
that's right. That's right.
Dion, you good?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
There's still a
Yes.
delay.
uh, for me, it's more visual. Are you getting the audio delay on your end?
No, I can hear
Okay,
you in real time, but I can see the visual delay, and it looks terrible, to be honest with you.
it's all right. We
It
we
looks like
we
I'm
we all
high,
It's all good.
never met
we
a
only
famous person.
we only have a few more minutes before we get to what the hell's anyway. So we're good. Well, we're good. Someone here says, "Good morning, guys." I assume that's Mary Ballard. Roxy says, "Freezing up
All
from
I see
time
is
to time."
Facebook user also.
Yes.
So I will say
Yeah,
this:
it's Mary.
I'm in a hotel. I'm on vacation with the wife. Dion is still working. He's on location down in the ATL. Warren is the only one back home. So that could be part of it as well. But again, we wanted to be with you guys. One and two, we wanted to make sure that we gave our birthday love to Warren B. Hall as well. Warren, I wanted to say this before we run out of time altogether. You kind of touched on it before, and I was talking with Tamara about this when I got back from when we talked about when we got back from the trip. You know, they always say um, that you can tell the worth of a person's life, for the lack of a better way to put it, by who's there at the funeral. You know, I've been to funerals where no one shows up. Then I've been to funerals where it's standing room only, and they're having to turn people away. You know, because they just can't fit another person in. And I kind of prescribe to that same thought as well. Like, man, this person really left an impact. But you put it best. It's hard for a comedian to get 10 people to show up. Not to say any comics out there watching, not to say you should not be trying, but it's tough to get 10 people in your own town. For you to have so many people spend, and you and I talked about this before the trip, to have people spend their own money, fly in, and flights are not cheap. Gas is not cheap. Vegas is definitely is not lessened in price based off of anything,
Right.
you know. And it's been that many days uh, there that shows what impact that you've made on people, man. I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I'm glad that not only us that was there, but those again because the video was long as shit. Those that were able to send their sentiments and emotions to you as well. I'm glad you were able to get those flowers while you were still amongst everyone because you know it's a terrible thing not to be able to know what people feel about you after you're gone. So I thought it was a beautiful thing, and I'm glad you were able to kind of take it all in, and you could see that you could see all of the emotion on your face, and you were trying to be Warren B. Hall, but you know I mean you could see it. I'm glad you were able to take it in and feel it the way you felt it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And there's times when you want to let people know I haven't forgot how you took care of me when I was at a low point.
Yeah.
And not that you need to say it in front of everybody, but I want you to know I have not forgotten what you did for me when you didn't have to do anything for me at all. And I think that's important. I think that's important.
I think it's super important. Deon, I want you to jump in behind this as well if you have something else you want to express or if you just want to piggyback on this, because I did want to say this. I think it's important, especially as an entertainer, um, and this goes for anyone in life, but I'm speaking specifically as an entertainer. When you are coming up in this thing, and before you have two nickels to rub together, whether it be that person that you are dating and you end up getting married, or it's those friends that you meet who support you, even though you can't give them a damn thing. I myself get really emotional about those people, about my wife, and about those friends and those people who follow you for the 14 years that you've been, for me, that I've been doing and telling jokes. And I was in a bar where no one would put down a pool cue and all these different things.
Yep.
Those are the moments, man, where, just piggybacking on what you said, where you just want to let people know and express it. And part of what goes through you is, man, when I make it, man, I'm gonna make sure I let you know I didn't forget that you were there when I had nothing.
Most definitely.
You know, Warren was the first professional comic that I met that actually told me I could do stand up comedy, that I could make it in the business. And that has always, always, always stuck out to me. Um, and Warren, uh, the former club owner of the comedy club that he and I used to, where we met, Morty's, the former club owner was a black comic who really hated on me when I first started. He made it way harder than it needed to be. My first MC week of ever, right before I went on stage for the first time, he told me, "I'm gonna fire you if you don't do well." Like literally right before they said my name, he said that to me. And so seeing that versus meeting a guy like Warren, who just went out of his way to be kind to me. But at the same time, he gave me shit because I had all this stuff in my pockets. But he was looking out for me in a way that, he didn't have to. We're black comics, so there's competition in that regard that, they only let a certain amount of black comics do certain shows. And, here I am, a brand new comic that one day could come and take his job. But yet he was gracious enough to, look out for me in the regard of the business aspect of comedy. And as far as the friendship goes, I mean, I can't I can't think of somebody that I've met that have just had instant chemistry with, um, besides the two of you guys. It's like, I met Sidney and it felt like we were brothers from
Yeah,
years and years and years ago, and we had just met each other. And then
yeah.
when I met Warren, he was funny and he was genuine, which at that time in my life I really, really needed. And every time I hung out with him since then has just been just a laughing fest, a love fest. There's stories that we won't tell on this episode for sure, but the fact that he's laughing, he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Why'd you
And
leave?
I'm just why'd I leave?
No, no. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go. Keep going.
He's talking to me.
Oh,
So why
I'm
did
just,
you
I
Yeah.
leave?
just, I'm just 100% grateful for knowing you, being able to call you my brother, mentor, friend, and fellow stand-up comic. I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. You've introduced a lot of cool things into my life, and I'm just grateful. I'm glad that you made it to 50. I hope you make it to 50 more. I'm not gonna be here for all of that because I'm not trying to be,
All right.
however the
Okay.
fuck
All
I'm gonna
right. Just
be
see. I mean,
old when you're.
you were going so great. You were going, you were doing so good. You were doing so good. uh,
Thank you to people
Mary.
saying happy birthday to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
All
was
right, I
getting
saw
ready.
that.
Mary. No, no, no. You're good, brother. It's your birthday celebration. Step all over my
that
usual
that
duties, you
was
rat
Roxy.
bastard. So, so, and hey, Warren, or hey, folks, anyone out there ever, like I've told a story before about first meeting Warren and all this build up to meet Warren from because we share two mentors and they're talking about Warren constantly. We're so proud of him. He's doing this and he's done. And then I'm early in my career and in my mind, I'm like, give a fuck. All right, we supposed to be talking about me and my career. Where I'm supposed to be going? Y'all keep talking to me about Warren. So Warren comes to town because he's gonna work a club and so the four of us are gonna get together for lunch. I'm like, finally, I can meet this my has been. I can't wait to meet this dude. And so and I've already this is what's going through my mind at the time. For people who don't know, I'm very very competitive. So I'm staying up to say, have you ever just built up a rivalry in your head, and the person you have the rivalry with has no idea that you're rivals? That was my relationship with Warren at the beginning, and it was even to the point where Warren would tell you sometimes I would just hit him with a joke. Sometimes after we had met, hey Warren, you think about this bit, and Warren didn't really say anything. And like Warren, if you don't like my material, just say you don't like my material. And Warren,
Oh,
like,
wait,
I don't know what.
you're cutting out. Repeat that last line. You did a
Oh,
digital. I want them to hear
oh,
that
sorry.
last part.
Y-
You
The
glitched.
last line was, I would say, I would run a bit past you, and you wouldn't really say anything, and I would say, Warren, if you don't like my material, just say you don't like it, and you would say, I don't know why you always assume I don't like your stuff. I thought, but that was because I had this rivalry in my head. I was like, Warren's trying to hold me back. Warren is trying to hold me back. So it took it took me some time with my shrink, but I finally got over that hump that I had with Warren, man. I'm glad I did because, like I talked about you before, I'm not gonna gush all over you again. I gave you enough. I'll see you in another 50 when I have something else nice to say about you. But what I will say, Warren was the first person who I told what my goal was at that time. And I told him at lunch at Panda Express, and I forget how he posed the question, but my response to him is what my response still remains. I want to be bigger than prior. And he was the first person I said it to who did not give me any type of pushback at all. And as an entertainer, all you need is one person to not give you any pushback on what your goal is. And you see, like, okay, there is a crack in this fucking door, and I think I can push through the rest of it. And Warren was that for me.
So the people know it was how he said it. He didn't say it like he was trying to impress me. I want to be bigger than prior. What do you think of that? He said it like, this is what's on the agenda. Could you pass those mashed potatoes, please? And kept going. He didn't wait for a response. He didn't wait for me to be excited or shocked or tell him he was wrong. And that bravado, I thought was impressive. It meant, well, he's about something. He's doing something. He's not waiting to see how I felt about it. He just answered the question.
So yeah. But your
You be
response
glad
was
I wasn't
again.
there, because I'd have told you, nah, we not passing no goddamn mashed potatoes. What the hell this nigga just say? Hell no, we ain't passing no mashed potatoes. What the hell you just say?
And you see that you and I have never had that conversation.
No,
And
you're
folks
right.
out there who
No,
are
you're right.
watching, while I believe in our merch, I do not have mine on for the first time ever. It's because I forgot to pack it before I came on the trip with my wife. I was too busy trying to come up with different plots and schemes to try to have sex with her on this vacation. So my mind was elsewhere. So I apologize for not having my merch.
Yeah, we did not need to know all
Hey, anybody who's married knows what's happening.
Well, I think the shirt would have helped. Because you could have pointed to the shirt and been like, "Can we do this?" And she'd be like, "That's debatable," So a good plug.
That, sir, is a weird thing. Who wants their wife to hear that's debatable? That's not. You don't want to hear that from yours.
That's what she was saying to you. She was saying it was
Got,
debatable. We knew your mission.
got you. It's your birthday show. Somebody just let you have that. That's fine. So,
He told me his dream was to be bigger than Mandingo.
that.
Mary, I know this is Mary.
Mary
Mary
Ballard
says
says sex is, yeah.
sex
Go
is
ahead, I'll
most
let you read it.
important. I appreciate it. That's not the one I was going to read. I was going to read the one that she put that's above that one. Mary, you have won the wall prize for this week. With this needs to be nice and large for everybody to see it. Want everyone to. There it is. All right. Just
See,
let that hold. Oh,
anytime
yes.
somebody says something nice about Sydney, it goes up on the wall post haste.
There it is.
So
He
that's
was
got to. Go ahead, Di.
he was hating on me so hard last week, Warren. He didn't want to give me my props at all when I was getting facts, Deon, and he
I
gonna put it
gave you
up on the
your
screen
pro.
all extra
Yes, I
small, and
did.
then whenever they
Yes,
mention
I.
both of us, go back
Go
and watch
Bigs.
last week's episode.
All right.
I
Let
would
me get
do
a
that.
screen. Let me get a screenshot of this up here with your two faces. With this here. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it, Mary. I love you. Again, I talked about this before. Mary's one of those folks who comes out, and we all have them as entertainers, as comics. We just have that core group of people who are always trying to support. And Mary's one of those folks. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And yes, she's right. Sex is most important. Um, Roxy says this took a turn. LOL. Just a little bit, Roxy. Just a little bit, Rox. And you know what? Roxy always gets up on the wall, so I don't know why you be tripping, Deon. I put Roxy on the wall no matter what she says, whether she agrees or disagrees with any of us.
I'm not hating on you putting anybody on the wall. I'm saying the amount of times you put somebody saying something nice about you on the wall relevant to someone saying something nice about me and Warren is not equal because you have wall veto powers.
You know what? Someone's got to have it because if we didn't, what kind of world would we live in if I didn't have some type of wall
Someone's
veto
gotta
power?
have it.
Who you sound like. You
I'm
sound like Trump. Yeah, let them march to the Capitol. They're not trying to kill me.
How dare you? How dare you? I can't wait to get my hands on it. All right. Warren, we're gonna get to our what the hell segment here in a minute. But before we do, um, any other
But we got to mention
thoughts?
Brian Regan.
I know
We got to mention
that's
Brian
what
Regan.
I was getting ready to say.
Oh,
What
okay.
other high point did you have um, during this week of celebration?
Now we all look glitchy. Like I even see myself glitching. The three of us glitchy.
I'm seeing it.
Um,
I'm seeing it too. You glitch a little bit too.
I
this
yeah.
comedian
I,
named
I turned on the Wi-Fi
oh,
and
go
I
ahead.
made it worse, so I had to turn it back off.
Outside the screen. This is
I don't know what the problem is.
that's
Sorry.
all right. Brian Regan. If you go to Netflix, you'll see I don't know 4 or 5 or 6 different specials he's had over the years. When I started in the '90s, he was already up and coming and doing things like Evening at the Improv and stuff like that. So he was a guy. He was funny. He was a clean comic, and he was just getting a lot of love. So of course now, 25 years later, he's still definitely on top of his game, and he's had a couple TV shows, and he's done a couple different things. So he happened to be at the club the night of my birthday because him and the MC are friends. So the guy kept making mentions about Brian Regan in the audience, and I thought he meant, oh, there must be a guy who looks like Brian Regan in the audience. So I'm glad I didn't know. I went up, did my thing, got off stage, and talking to this guy in the back. He goes, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna bring Brian back after the show." I'm like, "Brian who?" He goes, "You didn't hear me say Brian Regan's here?" And it's like, oh, he's really here. So after the show, he brings him back. Another guy, incredibly, incredibly humble. It's him and his girlfriend. He's like, "I hope you guys don't mind us back here. We just want to say hi real quick and this, that, and the other. And I enjoyed your stuff. I enjoyed your stuff." All stereotypical stuff people say after a show, which you're not super impressed with because, oh, he's just being nice. And then he goes, I heard it was your birthday today, Warren. And they didn't announce that at all. He said, "I heard it was your birthday, and I heard you're gonna have a little party, and that sounds fun. If you don't mind, I'm asking for permission. Do you mind if I attend your party?" And he said it like most people go, "Yeah, I'm gonna stop in." He was actually asking, "Do you mind if we stop in?" I was like, "I'd be elated if you came." And he's like, "Okay, well, I guess we'll see out there in a minute. I don't want to hold you up." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm walking out with you because that adds to my value at this party. So no problem." So he comes out, we're having a good time. He's being social. He's actually talking and whatnot. We get to a part in the party where people are raising their hand to say nice things about me, which I appreciated. And I look over and there's Brian Regan. He's got his hand up like, "I'd like to say something." And the first time I looked at him like, crazy Brian Regan. Who wants to say something over here? And then two more people go by. I look over. He's still raising his hand like, "I'd like to say something." He'd only met me 45 minutes before that. So I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Brian Regan." And he comes out and he said the most heartfelt, most kind words of someone you've just met. And it had to do with a lot, like Sidney said, about how the fact that people showed up tells me something. He sat there and again, this is a guy, he's a millionaire. He's made it in this industry already. Most of those guys
Yep.
don't even watch a full show. So he watched the
Yep.
entire show, and then he sat there at the bar, which is the closest level to seeing my little videos, which Sidney said, admittedly, it was long. And he sat there and he watched the whole thing, and he'd giggle when people would say a joke, and he'd smile when something heartfelt was said. And now after he's raising his hand to say something, and he comes up and says all this stuff, and he says, "I watched the videos and I saw the people do this. To me, it's important in comedy to be liked. And from the second Warren got on stage, I wanted to hear everything he had to say." And I'm it's surreal because here's a person you've looked up to, you never think you'll meet, but I've enjoyed his comedy, I've enjoyed his show, and now here he is talking about me, saying he liked me the way we talk about people we talk about we like. And
Yep.
it was surreal. And even after he continued to be social, it wasn't like I just did it so I could grab the mic and steal some time. He was that way genuinely the whole night. And before he left, he said, "We're going to take off." He made sure to see me before he left. Who does that at that level? Nobody. So that was
And
impressive. And we got it on video. We got it on video.
yeah, real quick, my comment about how long the video was not so much of some type of negative slight. It wasn't. It was the fact that so many people had something to say. And that's why the video was long, folks. There was a lot of people who could not make it for whatever reason, but they came from all different parts of Warren's life, whether they were comics as well or best friends or people he'd known from wherever. And so I think one guy did it at work. Um, it was a lot of people, and that's why I commented on the length of it. Not because I was like, "Oh my God, can we get this over with?" It was just like I'm like, "Holy sh! All these people flew here, and you still know more people that want to say something to you." This it was a great thing. On the Brian Regan thing, man, that was I think you said it, surreal. That this guy who knew you from no nothing said, "Hey, can I hang out? Can I come? Are you sure? It's cool." And came in and did it, and he stayed for the entire thing. And he spoke with other people. Folks, this guy was not cornered off in an area where you couldn't get to him. I was
Right.
from me 6 inches away chatting with him, with his girlfriend, and he was walking through and speaking with. It was such a cool thing. And uh, Warren said it. I mean, like he was a regular guy. If you wouldn't have known who he was, even if you knew who he was, you wouldn't have known his stature. It was really cool, and I thought it was great to have him get up and say something. And If you had a cry when Brian Regan got up and started speaking about you, I'd have kneecapped you at the end of the night because you ain't cry for anybody else. If you had a cry for this man you were just met 45 minutes ago.
What? Oh, so I didn't, because I didn't cry for my gotcha, gotcha. Hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I told myself I'd be strong. I hadn't planned on crying. Then a buddy of mine got up and was talking about back in the day, and
yeah. Yeah.
I was impressed that people weren't telling whole stories. They weren't putting my whole business out there. He was like, I've known Warren since we were 14 and 15 and this, that, and he looked out for me. And he didn't add that, there was a time when I was flat broke and this dude would take his lunch money and feed me. And he was gracious enough to not have to put that out there. And it made me want people to know even more. No, he's not just a guy. This is a dude. He's a forever in my life. He fed me when he didn't have to with the lunch money that he had. He split it in half. Things like that. That's important to me, to know I didn't forget that, man. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I mean, you made a point of commenting on it and kind of telling that part of it, and you're right. He could have told it, and he didn't, which was class for him, but class for you too to be the one to get up there and share it and give that love right back to him. Deon, are you? I want you to jump in. You anything at all before we get the hell out of here?
Again, man, I'm just
I love this
I'm
delay.
genuinely happy that I know you. I'm genuinely happy that I know you. I'm fortunate that I met you when I met you too. I think because you had a real impact on the way that I see comedy, the way that I view the craft, the art form, the work of it. Like watching you progress, and the pointers that you gave me. Um, Even if I didn't listen to them in the moment, like those lessons that you taught me, I carry with me. And now that I've mentored, comics younger than me, a lot of the lessons that I impart on them, I got from you. So I just want you to know that, like, the business aspect of stand-up comedy, I owe a lot of my success to some of the things that you've done for me, the things that you've told me, the things that you've taught me, and just the conversations that we've had about the work and how bits are set up and where bits come from. You're always telling me to write that down. So I just want you to know that I appreciate that more than I've ever told you.
Yeah, Warren's
There
the
was
only comic that.
a
No, no, I was just gonna say I'll
yours
let you
was
say that.
related. Mine was a sidetrack.
Okay, well,
Oh,
yeah,
I
Warren,
was gonna say,
Warren,
go ahead, go ahead.
Warren,
Go, go.
Warren, Warren,
I feel like
Warren
I'm
is
causing the delay for both of you, and it's great.
you, and you are. Warren, Warren, Warren is always good for saying, "Man, you got to write that down. Man, you got to write that down. Did you write that down?" And so he's always good for. And Dion's right. Always remind you to write it down. He's also one of the few comics say, "That's a bit. That's a bit. You gonna use that? I might use that if you're not gonna use that." So so you so you're not trying to compete for what might be a bit because Warren sees bits all the time. You can just be having a conversation, and Warren will see a bit where you did not see a bit, and then, hey, that's a bit. You gonna use that? You're like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna use that as if you knew ahead of time. You had no idea that could be a bit. But go ahead, Warren. What were you gonna say? Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's funny how life is all connected. One little thing you hear here comes back later, whatever. Dion was the first guy who showed me a video game called Need for Speed, and in this you're trying to outrun the cops and do all kinds of stuff. And I thought it was just a cool game, so I was like, I'm gonna get this game and whatnot. So years and years later now, one of the favorite games I play with my son is I can't do it like I used to. I'm not as good as I used to be when the kids were little. Like when Dante was little, I could dominate him. I can't play with Dante anymore. He's just too good. But I can still beat Donovan. Uh, but there's this move where I'm racing, then I did like a little 360 spin, and he goes, "Whoa, how'd you learn that?" And I was like, "Uncle Dion taught me." He's like, "He did," and it made me smile because I haven't thought about that game in so long. And then we pulled it out the other day, and it was like, "You did teach me that move. That who would have thought at the time I'd another generation I would show that move to and they'd be impressed." So it's just kind of funny how little things that don't mean as much at the time come back later. And this is a 50-year-old moment, and it means something. So that's just kind of cool that we have that.
Absolutely. All right, gents, and our master debaters out there. We're gonna get to our what the hell segment here before we get out of here. Warren, what you got this week for your what the hell?
My what the hell is every now and then. slow down and ask yourself this question: important, not important. Because I'm at that point now where some things I would just jump all over. I have to ask myself, is this important? No. We're dealing with the kids. He spilled half a box of cereal, and I want to freak out. And it's like, at the end of the day, is this really important? If I want some cereal, it is. But if I don't, it's not that important. So every now and then, slow down, ask yourself, important, not important, and then make a decision.
I feel like Warren's what the hell could be verbalized. What the hell did you just spill milk? You know what? That's cool. It's chill. That's all right. Don't worry about that. I'll clean that up. Yeah, what's your what the hell this week, brother?
My what the hell this week is, what the hell is up with this internet connection that we all have? I don't know why we are struggling so bad, but I look like I'm on crack half the goddamn show. Hopefully by the time next week rolls around, we will have figured it out. I feel like part of it is Sydney's internet being hotel Wi-Fi. I'm never this bad. So I apologize to everybody that's listening and watching. That it's Sydney's fault mostly, but partially mine too.
What?
Put that up on the screen.
No. This is.
We look like
See, this is why you
Minecraft
can't.
characters.
This is why you can't do certain crimes with certain
I
friends.
really do.
Because I can already hear Deon in the box. Look, this is about only 10% my fault. Sidney committed 90% of that murder.
Whoa. Deon ain't never going to jail. If we committing crimes, we going all the way, baby. I'm Queen Latifah and set it off. I can't be no slave, Snooky.
All right, we gonna stop punishing y'all with this Wi-Fi. I'm gonna get my what the hell out real quick. What the hell is going with these fast food workers, man? Look, when McDonald's says 24 hours, that means 24 hours. Doesn't mean I pull up at 2 in the morning and you tell me you doing maintenance for an hour and a half, so you can't make any food. That's not what you're doing. You're in there bullshitting, wasting time, not wanting to do any work because it's 2 in the morning and because you are working a minimum wage job. You're pissing me off, man. Then when I go to Wendy's last night after having a little fun with the wife and some friends up here on vacation, try to go to Wendy's. They don't close till midnight, man. It is 11:30. I pull up, my man say, "Oh, sorry, our systems are down." Your systems are down? So we go down the street, we go to Taco Bell. I said, "Cause I needed something to eat, man." Go to the Taco Bell. You know this motherfucker, I'd rather you just cut the lights off when I pull up than to tell me what this motherfucker had said. We ran out of beef, we ran out of chicken, we ran out of steak, we out of tomatoes, or we have some lettuce, we have some rice. I said, I said, the timer just pulled away. I said, so what he was trying to tell me was Taco Bell won't be open tomorrow either. Listen, let me tell you, lying minimum wage motherfucker, something. If it takes me to my grave, I will make sure you never across the board make $15 an hour. Never, ever, ever. And don't blame me. Blame your coworkers that are around this country who are lazy as fuck. What the hell? Y'all need to kick somebody's head in around there if y'all want this money, because I'm gonna make sure you don't get it. That is the show. Now it's debatable. Thank you guys for celebrating with us, and we celebrate more.
Are you going to use
He
that
turned
bit,
into
or can I
Rick
use that?
James. Should have never gave you niggas money.
It's Di. I'm out of chicken. I'm out of steak. I'm out of beef. No, you not. Just say Just cut the lights off. Because what you're telling me is this. What you're telling me is this Taco Bell will not be open in the morning. Then I guess. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Happy birthday,
definitely
Hey,
Warren.
man.
definitely a bit.
I love you both. Thank
Happy
you guys.
birthday,
Have a good.
Warren. We
Thank you.
love you.
Happy birthdays, everybody. Thank you.